good afternoon, and welcome out to the Sawyer Center on the campus of Southern Nazarene University as it is time for continuing coverage of the GAC NSIC Crown Plaza Classic, opening up the 2016-2017 Men's NCAA Division II basketball season. Alex Friedman here, joined by Tanner Stiles. As game one today will be between Northern State and Harding. In the second game, we'll have Minnesota State Moorhead taking on the host Southern Nazarene Crimson Storm. Well, for Northern State, a chance to go to 2-0. For the Bisons of Harding, they're looking to avoid going 0-2. Harding played in the early game yesterday, a game in which they played Minnesota State Moorhead. They were down by 11 at half. Tied it, but Minnesota State Moorhead, behind a key 12-0 run behind hot shooting, eventually went on to win 84-78. Northern State took on the host Crimson Storm last night, a game that was so tight throughout, a very entertaining game which saw 14 ties and 15 lead changes. Northern State coming away, though, with a 91-88 win. Now bringing my partner Tanner Stiles. And Tanner, now a couple teams again won a chance to go to 2-0, another 0-2, a team I know you're pretty familiar with in Harding, a member of the GAC.
Yeah, Harding is one of those teams that SNU, last year they actually split the season series. Harding beat SNU by 30 in Searcy, and then later on in the season they played here in the Sawyer Center, and SNU got them by 6. I mean, they're one of those gritty teams that like to pound the ball inside and really get their points in the paint, and they actually ended up losing the GAC championship last year to Ouachita. So they've got some weapons back from last year, and they're looking to reload for another good year.
Picked third in the preseason GAC poll. They're also coming off an NCAA tournament bid. Northern State 18-12 last year, very good conference record at 13-9, in which they were second place in their division in the NSIC. Take a break for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll have your starting lineups in the tip. This is SNUathletics.com. Time now for the starting lineups. We begin with Northern State. They will start three guards. Starting sophomore point guard is Ian Smith. Mac Arvidsson, who led the team with 20 points last night, a senior. Joined in the third guard is DJ Pollard, junior from St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Up front, it is Justin Decker, sophomore from Huron, South Dakota. And at the center position, Carter Evans, junior from Rochester, Minnesota. We'll get into this more later, but him and his other centerman, Logan Doyle, they had a great game when you look at their numbers combined last night against SNU. Northern State is coached by Paul Sather, a chance to hit a milestone in his coaching career today, a chance for career win number 200 for Paul Sather. He is assisted by Sundance Wicks and Brad Christensen. And for the Harding University Bisons, a three-guard starting lineup, getting with Tim Wagner, had a very impressive team debut last night. Philip Medjo and Will Francis, the team's top returning leading scorer, rounds out the backcourt. Up at the front, the forwards are Braden Eggleston and Stefan Andelkovic, who had a tremendous game yesterday for the Bisons, fell 1 point shy of his career high. Jeff Morgan in his 24th season at the helm of the Bisons. He is the head coach of Harding, 398 career wins with the Bisons, and Raylan Woods is his assistant. These two teams played in the same event last year that was hosted at Arkansas Tech. And Harding went 0-2. They lost to Northern State last year. It was 73-67. Northern State came away with a 1-1 split last season, so Harding looking to avoid getting off to an 0-2 start for the second consecutive year. And after this game is completed, we will have Minnesota State Moorhead taking on Southern Nazarene. Both games yesterday were phenomenal from start to finish, and hopefully we'll have a similar games here and great competition here at the Sawyer Center on this Saturday afternoon. Harding is wearing their road black uniforms with white lettering. The Northern State Wolves, they're in the home whites with the maroon lettering outlined in yellow. Andelkovic and Evans are going to tip it off here at center court. 20 minutes on the game clock as we get ready to start here today. Last year was marked the first ever meeting between these teams, and now they play each other for a second consecutive season. Ball's up in the tip, won by Evans, and the Wolves will control to start things off with Ian Smith running things. Giving it off to Pollard, to Anders, Arvidsson. Pollard on the right side, drives in towards the paint. Smith works it down in the corner, and Justin Decker shot off the side of the rim. Andelkovic gets the rebound for the Bisons. Had a big game yesterday, and it gets a possession. And again, Harding, I think, is Tim Wagner will try a three. It's no good. Ball loose and eventually grabbed by the Wolves, and we'll get more into this later. But Harding yesterday was so good, limiting second chance opportunities for Minnesota State Moorhead. Three ball on the way from Pollard, no good. And again, another defensive clear out is Minnesota State Moorhead against Harding yesterday. Only 5 offensive rebounds and 1 second chance point. Pass intended for Andelkovic is tipped out of bounds, and the possession remains with the Wolves. Wagner to inbound to the left of the basket. Wagner had a very quiet first half yesterday in which he picked up 3 fouls and then had a huge second half, scored 19 points in the second half, leading that comeback for the Bisons. Andelkovic on the right block towards the middle of the lane and gets the little jumper to rim in off the front of the iron. It's 2-0 Bisons.
Yeah, Andelkovic is one of those guys. He, along with Wagner, fouled out of the game yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see. Those are the 2 leading scorers for Harding. See if they can stay out of foul trouble here early.
Ian Smith goes to the rim, but it's blocked away by the aforementioned Andelkovic. And Harding with a 2-0 lead, 18:42 remaining in the first half. Wagner guarded by Smith. And this is a offense that'll have a lot of movement around the perimeter, and Wagner loses it, driving in, taken away by Evans. Ian Smith controlling right at the free throw line, looking to give it off. He does to Arvidsson. Arvidsson led Northern State with 20 points in their win last night. Pollard over to Smith, down to 11 on the shot clock. Decker inside to Evans, working towards the middle of the lane, slips it to Smith. Smith has it rejected out of bounds by Wagner. 4 seconds to go on the shot clock for the Wolves.
That was a good play by Wagner there, coming on the backside, knocking that thing out of there. He gave SNU a lot of trouble last year.
4 seconds on the shot clock for Northern State. Arvidsson off the inbounds, lets it fly off the back of the rim, and Ian Smith, the smallest guy in the court, able to get the offensive rebound. Now fresh shot clock. Wolves looking for their first points today. Evans working against Eggleston on the left block. Hook shot is good.
Not much you can do about that. Big man in there, nice little hook shot. He's biggest guy on the court for a reason.
Medjo to the basket, gets fouled on the floor. It'll be on Arvidsson his first. Evans, who just made the shot, 8 for 11 from the floor yesterday, led the team in shooting last season at 63.5%. Tied up 2-2, 17:40 remaining in the first half. Medjo at the top of the circle, drives left. Eggleston now in the left corner. Back to Medjo, who will reset things in front of the Northern State bench. Now Medjo pulls up from 3 off the front of the rim, and Evans with a rebound. Now Evans and Logan Doyle, the interchangeable players at the 5 spot for Northern State yesterday, combined to have tremendous numbers for the Wolves. 11 for 16 from the floor, 29 points, 15 rebounds out of that spot. 3 ball all the way from Decker off the right side of the rim, and Medjo tracks down the rebound. Medjo to the basket, goes up, got fouled by Evans, and he'll have a couple of free throws coming.
Yeah, Northern State starting off the game a little bit sluggish on the offensive end. One of their first 7, including 0 for 4 from 3-point range already. So we'll see if they can get under control on the offensive end.
Now, these teams played last year, game in Russellville, Arkansas. Northern State did not shoot very well in the first half. Just 35% shooting as Medjo hits the first free throw. Harding led that game 32-30 at half. But Northern State would shoot 58% and route to a 43-point second half and a 73-67 win. Doyle into the game replacing Evans as Medjo hits both free throws. It is 4-2 with the Bisons in front. Under 17 minutes to go in the first half.
You know, typically, Alex, first couple games of the year for any college team, you know, they're just trying to get out there and shake that rust off from the offseason a little bit to really kind of get in a groove.
Smith to the hole, able to body up and get it to go. So Ian Smith ties the game at 4-4. Smith was limited just 14 minutes of game time. Fouled out pretty early in that game last night against SNU. Andelkovich lost it, thought he was fouled, no call. Back the other way is Pollard, and he is fouled by Francis. Now, Francis, the team's leading returning scorer for Harding, was a non-factor yesterday. We'll see if he gets it going here today. Tied up 4-4, 16:27 remaining in the first half. Smith getting a screen from Doyle. Shoots from 3 and hits. Ian Smith, sophomore from Champlain Park, Minnesota. 28 games all off the bench last year. He's the starting point guard early this season. An offensive foul away from the ball. It'll be on Andelkovich.
That's already the 3rd Harding turnover here in the first 4 minutes of the ball game.
Substitution for the Bisons. Austin Mankin is in, replacing Eggleston. And Gabe King checking in for the Wolves. Smith, he'll try and stay hot. Along 2 is no good, and Francis the rebound for Harding. Bisons down 6-4. Mankin had 9 points in his team debut yesterday, coming off the bench for the Bisons. Back to Medjo, where he's guarded by King. Down to 12 on the shot clock. Medjo lost it, gets it back near the baseline, and then stepped on the line out of bounds. Brings us to our first timeout on the floor. An early 6-4 lead for the Wolves. We'll step aside for a bit. This is SNUathletics.com. Six to 4 lead early on for Northern State, and the Wolves have the ball. Trying to go 2-0 to start off their season. And Smith for early points. Gives it off to Decker, trying to get it into Doyle, but good seal-off defense by Andelkovic. Pollard at the free throw line, had it poked loose, got it back. Down to 12 on the shot clock with Smith on the left wing. Pollard, left side of the lane, bumped by Andelkovic, and a travel called on Pollard.
Just the first turnover there of the game for Northern State, but I mean that's really just kind of been the storyline so far early in the first 5 minutes of the ball game. 4 Harding turnovers to go along with NSU's 1, and the low shooting percentages also reflect kind of the low scoring start for this ball game.
We're almost 5 minutes in, and Harding has just taken 3 shots overall. Now they're down by 2, and Medjo will bring it up for the Bisons. Wagner's got it on the right side. Screen from Mankins. Driving left to the top of the circle. Switch picked up by Doyle. Goes to left side, and he's fouled by Doyle. As Wagner will head to the free throw line. Now, yesterday it was Northern State getting the free throw line a lot more than their opponent, SNU, but a couple of quick trips, early trips for Harding, who yesterday a perfect 16 of 16 as a team from the line that tied their school record for most free throws without a miss. And now they're 3 for 3 today, so 19 of 19 here in this tournament. Braxton Elliott comes in for DJ Pollard. Wagner hits both. Ties up this game 6-6 with 15 minutes even remaining in the first half. All nearly turned over by the Wolves, but saved by King. Smith, the bounce pass inside, a little bit too low for Decker, and eventually picked up by Andelkovic. Medjo pushing it up the right side towards the baseline. Now will circle and bring it back outside the arc. Wagner's got it in front of Northern State's bench. Down to 15 on the shot clock. Francis, baseline drive, kicks out to Mankin, open for 3, can't hit. Some contact underneath the basket going for the rebound. It's going to be against Northern State's Ian Smith. Now trying to get position on a big mismatch with Andelkovic, and maybe was a little bit too forceful, so he will leave after picking up the foul back. Arvidsson back in. The Bisons retain possession of the ball. Medjo picks up his dribble. Wagner tries a long 3 and hits it.
Boy, SNU fans will certainly remember that from last year. Wagner, I guess they had 22 points to lead the team, and he's going to be a big part of this Harding team this season.
3 of 8 from beyond the arc yesterday. It's a 9-6. Bison's lead, and Medjo able to pick off the pass, takes it to the basket and lays it in. Timeout called by the Wolves. It's an 11-6 lead for the Bisons. They've scored 7 straight. 13:57 remaining in the first half. This is SNUathletics.com. Northern State trailing 11-6. It's a 7-0 run by the Harding Bisons. Checking into the game for the first time for Northern State, number 33, Cole Dahl. He's got it and gives it off to Arvidsson on the left side. Dahl at the top of the circle, right side to King. To Doyle, got behind Andelkovic and able to slam it home.
That was a good pass inside there, setting him up, and that was just a better finish.
Wagner's got it on the down to the top of the circle. Driving left side, stops at the block, and there's a 3-second violation on the Bisons.
One thing about Northern State that I've noticed here in the first 7.5 minutes of this game is that they've got some length on the perimeter, and they're really able to make it tough on Harding. And that's part of the reason that Harding, now that's their 5th turnover in this game. They're just trying to get something going on offense, but that length of Northern State's playing an advantage.
Shot made at the other end by Pollard. And now the Wolves back within 1. Already 5 turnovers, as you mentioned. They had 10 the entire game against Minnesota State Moorhead yesterday. Andelkovic is going to be whistled for his second foul. That's an offensive foul trying to get position, so he will presumably leave. And he does indeed. Andelkovic yesterday had 21 points, one shy of his career high. He'll be replaced by number 14, Gojko Djojkovic.
And Andelkovic is one of their biggest presences on the inside there as well, so we'll see how Harding's able to adjust with that with him in foul trouble.
Northern State down by one with the ball. Elliott looking to feed inside to Doyle, working on Djokovic, who just came in. Doyle backs him down to the rim, gets the left-handed lane to go. Logan Doyle, transfer from South Dakota State, had a very impressive team debut yesterday. And then back at the other end, Tim Wagner, there he is again, hitting a three to make it 14-12. The Bisons regain the lead with 12:28 remaining in the first half. They're going to try and feed Doyle again, but Doyle's called for the offensive foul. Get some separation with Djokovic. And Doyle after that will take a seat and replaced by Evans.
Yeah, a couple of quick fouls on Doyle there too as well. Starting to see the offense pick it up just a little bit more now after the slow start from both teams. Now Harding starting 4 of 7 from the field, and NSU 6 of 13.
Wagner dragged his feet as he was trying to come to a stop on the left-handed dribble drive, and yet another turnover by the Bisons, their 7th already. Evans has it beyond the arc. Looking to run the pick and roll, but covered well by Harding, and now we got to travel at the other end. I don't know if it's the quick turnaround with both teams playing again less than 24 hours after their previous game, but sloppy play on both ends to start off today.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that, and like I said, just those first couple games, you're just trying to get into a rhythm of, game mode. You can scrimmage and practice, but it's not the same as playing an in-game, so see if these two teams can get in a little bit of a rhythm here.
Medjo backs it out with 13 to go on the shot clock. Trying to hit Djokovic, missed him, but it came right to Wagner, missed the three. Pollard with the rebound for the Wolves. Pollard will slow things up at the arc. Cross-court pass over to Elliott. Now Arvidsson's got it. Dahl back to Elliott, down to 16 on the shot clock. Elliott against Djokovic, gets around a miss though. Evans going up for the rebound, called for over the back.
That was good positioning there by Ward. Evans had the height advantage there, but Ward did a good job of getting in position where he needed to be to box him out.
So Coach Paul Sather has a problem he didn't run into yesterday, and that's both Doyle and Evans with 2 fouls each now. So we'll see what he does with his substitutions. We have a timeout on the floor. It's a 14-12 lead for Harding. This is SNUathletics.com. (14-12) lead for Harding. 11:20 remaining in the first half. I mentioned heading into the break that both Evans and Doyle in foul trouble. Djokovic underneath the basket, couldn't get it to go. The tip by Menken, no good as well. So both are on the bench. Last night there might not have been a single possession where Evans or Doyle was in the game. So taking over that 5 spot now is Justin Decker, who has the ball. Decker on the left block. Good tight defense by Djokovic forces the miss, and Djokovic with the rebound. Medjo to the basket, rolls off the rim, but Mankin there for the tip-in.
And that's where you're missing Evans inside there, that big body. Evans and Doyle both combined for 29 points and 15 rebounds. So, I mean, that's a big portion of the glass just right there that you're having on the bench because of foul trouble.
Wide open is Arvidsson, the team's best shooter, and he drains it. Hit 5 3-pointers last year. Shot 45% from long range and the most three-point makes on the Wolves roster last season. He pulls Northern State within one at 16-15. Approaching 10 minutes to go in the first half. Mankin to the top of the circle. Medjo now on the left side hands it off to Wagner. Down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Wagner driving the kick out. Mankin just inside the arc. It's short. And the rebound by Pollard. Pollard looking to push straight ahead to the basket. Had it blocked from behind by Zach Ward. And gathered back by the Bisons. Medjo pulls up from three and hits it.
That was just good transition defense back the other way by Harding. They got back they needed to do and made the right play, and it resulted in a transition of their own, capitalized on the three.
19-15 lead for the Bisons. Medjo's got 7. Pollard elevating over Djokovic, rims out. Elliott there for the offensive rebound, then a reach-in foul committed by Mankin.
And it looks like they're going to put Doyle back in the game here. Going to elect to have him see if he can stay in there without be disciplined and not pick up that third.
Now Doyle and King in. Elliott and Dahl leave. Also Ian Smith back in, replacing DJ Pollard. And checking in for Harding for the first time, J.P. Brandon, number 44. Arvidsson bumped as he fires the three. No call, but he gets it to go anyway.
And that's a tough shot right there. I mean, Arvidsson, we saw yesterday 5 for 8 from three, as you said, and already making a mark in this first half early. Just a pure shooter.
1 point lead for the Bisons at 19-18, 9 minutes to go in the first half. 13 on the shot clock. Eggleston to Brandon over. Medjo saying he wants a screen right. Long three from Francis is good. Francis yesterday was very quiet, the team's top returning scorer, second team GAC performer last year. It's his first basket today and a travel at the other end by the Wolves.
And that's just Harding's offense. You know, I've seen that in a couple years I've been broadcasting. They run a lot of pick and rolls to the top of the key, and they like to drive and kick out to their corners where they've got some shooters that can knock down those shots, as we see Medjo hit that one on the last possession.
Team 4 of 9 from beyond the arc to start today. They were 10 of 28 yesterday. Francis giving into Brandon. Brandon with size over Arvidsson, but was too strong off the glass, and the rebound by Doyle. They had the good matchup in their favor, but Brandon couldn't finish. Smith, left side dribble drive, and it gets fouled going up.
This will actually be NSU's first try at the free throw line in this first half. You know, we've seen them take 6 3-pointers and kind of forcing the issue inside, but Smith goes to the line here for the first time tonight for the Wolves.
Shot a bunch of free throws yesterday, 38 of them in the win against SNU. Smith hits the first. Ian Smith, a little bit under 5 points per game last year in his freshman campaign with the Wolves. It's both. 2-point lead for the Bisons, who 22-20. Ward on the right wing to Eggleston. He'll line up a three and drain it. Hot shooting continues for the Bisons. Their fifth made 3 of the half, 5 of 10 now from long range, and they lead 25-20. Decker just outside the arc, right side to Arvidsson. Able to free himself a little bit from Francis. Can't hit in the offensive rebound by Doyle. Doyle guarded tightly on the baseline. Goes up, a lot of contact, no foul, and then he knocked it out of bounds.
And that's good defense there by Harding. You know, Doyle had a good move inside there. It looked like he was fouled, but I don't think he had possession of that ball on that spin move as it was knocked out. Harding just doing a good job there, being in the right place at the right time.
We have 7:42 to go. Timeout on the floor. Harding leads at 25-20. This is SNUathletics.com. 7:42 to go in the first half. Harding with a 25-20 lead. The Bisons trying to come out of the Sawyer Center with a split in their 2 games here in the GAC NSIC Crown Plaza Classic.
Yeah, Harding's now up to 50% shooting here in this first half after turning the ball over quite a bit in the first 5 minutes of the game. They've really settled down and kind of run some of their sets they've been accustomed to, and it's shown with a couple three-pointers they've made on the last couple possessions.
Down to 8 on the shot clock. Brandon back to Ward. Trying to feed inside from Eggleston, and Doyle just might have picked up his 3rd foul. No, it's on Decker. So Decker and Doyle were both in the vicinity. Decker, that's his 1st. E.J. Pollard coming back in, replacing Gabe King. 7th team foul on the Wolves. That puts Eggleston at the line for a 1-and-1. And he makes the 1st, the sophomore from Amarillo, Texas yesterday. And 7 points and 8 rebounds. Makes both, and Harding still perfect this season at the free throw line. And made their first 22 free throws of the season. All knocked out of bounds, out of the hands of Pollard by Ward, so the ball stays with the Wolves. We're down to 7-10. Had a 7-point lead for Harding, their largest advantage today. Smith working against Medjo. Kick out to an open Decker. He cannot hit the long 2, and Medjo crashes for the rebound. Ahead to Francis towards the baseline. Goes up and got fouled.
We've really seen Harding on the offensive end really get more aggressive on the inside, as we've seen, Evans obviously on the bench with a couple of fouls, but that's typically, Harding on the defensive end, I should say, is they're one of those teams that they're really defensively sound. I know you mentioned as the first free throw goes down that 38 free throws shot by NSU yesterday, and I'd be really surprised if that happens today because Harding's just so defensively sound. So it'll be interesting to see what Northern State does on the other side.
These Bisons, we talk about their fundamentals, and still perfect at the free throw line. And now it is a 29-20 advantage for Harding. Smith shovels it off to Pollard. Doyle wants it. Left shot against Eggleston. Double team comes. He slips through it but couldn't convert. Harding able to clear. Francis bringing it up. Feed inside to Eggleston. Eggleston off the glass and in. And the lead has been stretched out to 11 by the Bisons. A 7-0 run for Harding. And then an offensive foul committed by Doyle. That's his 3rd foul.
And that's huge. It'll be interesting to see now how NSU responds and whether or not how long they're going to keep Evans on the bench.
Yeah, Evans has 2 in case you're just joining us. A 9-0 run for the Bisons. Now look to keep it going here on this possession. Eggleston's got on the right wing. Eggleston now cutting, gets it in the block and fouled. He'll head back to the free throw line, and now it's double bonus time for the Bisons.
Yeah, NSU is just trying to find their rhythm on offense as well. They're 38% shooting from the field right now, 2 for 7 from 3, and they've got 8 turnovers. They started off taking care of the ball decently, and the last couple minutes they've kind of let their flow get away from them.
Braden Eggleston appeared in 24 games, started 13, averages 3 points per game. Hits the first free throw, but then again last year his freshman season. A lot of experience now under his belt here at the collegiate level. And there's the first miss of the entire season at the free throw line by Harding. They've made it a 10-0 run as Eggleston at 1 of 2. Smith looks to answer, and he does. A much-needed basket for the Wolves. 32-22 with 5:46 remaining in the first half. Eggleston gets it to Medjo, cutting through the lane, and Medjo able to get it to kiss it off the glass. Medjo's got 9 to lead the Bisons. They lead back by 12 at 34-22. Pollard driving in, had it stripped by Eggleston, and they battle for the loose ball. Touched last by Eggleston, out of bounds.
You mentioned that shot by Smith being huge. Other than Smith, really it's been Arvidsson. I mean, he's got 6. Smith's got 8 to lead the way, but other than that, no one's really made an impact on the offensive side of the ball here for the Wolves.
Well, there is Smith. The pass nearly stolen, just went by the hand of Brandon. Down to 8 on the shot clock. Decker driving baseline, kick out to Arvidsson, has space for 3, but it's off the back of the rim. The offensive rebound by Decker. Ian Smith driving the baseline, and a foul called on the Bisons, only on Medjo. So now, Northern State, they've got 5 offensive rebounds. That matches the amount allowed total in the game by Harding yesterday against Minnesota State Moorhead. Smith into Arvidsson. Now he drives in, hangs, and gets the underhanded shot to go.
That's a tough finish, especially with Arvidsson. You know, he's a shooter, and he can also put the ball on the floor and score like we just saw there. It just makes it so difficult to defend if you're Harding.
10-point lead for the Bisons, 4:43 remaining in the half. Francis driving now, dribbles it back out, and Medjo will reset things. 12 to go on the shot clock. Wagner controlling between the circles. Down to 7 on the shot clock. Wagner tripped, regains his footing. Off balance shot, off the glass and in. Tim Wagner, the first to double figures today. 36-24. Smith open for 3, and Reynolds out. Foul called on Decker, battling for the rebound with Eggleston. And that'll put Eggleston back at the free throw line.
Yeah, Wagner said, as we mentioned earlier, he led the team in scoring yesterday and already 10 points now in the first half of this one. Starting this 2016-17 season off on the right note for Harding.
First couple games in the program for Wagner. Junior college transfer, hails from Wisconsin. Averaged 14 points per game last year at North Platte Junior College. Eggleston misses the first free throw. Dahl coming in for the Wolves, replacing Decker. Decker's got 3. So Decker with 3, Doyle with 3, Francis with 2, and the front line really has run into some problems for Northern State in this game. Nelson makes 1 of 2. It's 37-24. Smith to the basket. Left-handed scoop shot no good, and Ward able to control for the Bisons.
See if these last 4 minutes of the game, Harding can push this lead up a little bit higher. NSU still electing to keep Evans on the bench. See if they can extend this lead. 13, it's already the largest of the first half. They're looking to make it even bigger.
9 to go on the shot clock. Wagner controlling. It's down to 5 on the shot clock. Wagner trying to make something happen. Lost it, came right back to him, and then left the shot short. Arvidsson bringing it up for the Wolves. Elliott left-handed drive, middle of the lane, reverse layup, got fouled on the attempt. And Elliott will head to the free throw line after this timeout on the floor. 3:17 remaining in the first half. It's 37-24 Harding. This is SNUathletics.com. Paxton Elliott at the free throw line for a couple of shots. Redshirt freshman from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. His first is good. Northern State just 2 baskets over 6 minutes plus, and a total of 6 points during that time. Elliott able to hit both. Makes it an 11-point lead for the Bisons at 37-26.
See if these last 3 minutes at Northern State on the other side of this run by Harding can get back to the free throw line. That's really where you're going to kind of chip away, continue to be aggressive on the offensive end, and get back to that free throw line.
And Northern State just has not been able to consistently get stops on the defensive end. As Wagner going left side of the basket, just able to get past Ian Smith and lay it in.
Wagner up to 12 points now in this first half, 4-7 from the field, and it's also knocked down a couple of three-pointers. He's been huge.
Dahl will try a 3 off the back of the rim, tipped and grabbed by the Bisons. To the basket is Mankin, and it got blocked from behind, out of bounds by Dahl. .232 remaining in the half. Francis will be the inbounder, baseline right. Gets it into Wagner. Takes a couple of dribbles, picks it up. Adam Horn, who just recently checked in the game, handing it off to Francis. Down to 13 to go on the shot clock as Francis pulls it back out. 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. Wagner shoots over Smith. It's long and out of bounds.
That's really kind of been the difference also on the offensive end for both these teams. Is Harding likes to work that shot clock. They like to get a lot of movement, run through their sets, as opposed to Northern State we've seen, who's come down and a couple of passes and a shot here. So we'll see if they can cut into this lead. 13 right now, 2 to go.
Pollard had it poked away, and then he touched it out of bounds. Turnover by the Wolves.
We had 2 officials here. One made one call and the other one made the other. This official closest to us is the one who signaled it was Harding's ball.
Now they're going to reverse it, and it will stay on this end of the court with Northern State. Arvidsson in the corner off the inbounds over Wagner, doesn't hit it. Smith with another offensive rebound and able to put it back.
Smith's been the lone bright spot for the Wolves here in the first half. Now up to 10 points and big offensive rebound there to lead the team with 3 rebounds.
A takeaway and a much needed one by the Wolves. Stolen away by Arvidsson as Elliott brings it up. 1.5 minutes left in the half. An 11-point lead by the Bisons. A foul by Zach Ward. And it's bonus time for the Wolves, so Smith going to the free throw line.
This is exactly what they needed to do to kind of chip into this lead, continue to be aggressive on the offensive end and not really force the issue there, as Smith was just trying to get things situated at the top there, and sometimes when that happens, the defense will reach in and foul, as we saw on that play.
Smith able to hit the front end of the 1-and-1 last year, 65.6% free throw shooter.
Even though NSU struggled to shoot the ball in the first half, as Smith's second free throw goes down, you really got to give credit to Harding's defense. I mean, they've really held this NSU offense to tough contested shots, as nine of NSU's points have come by the way of second chance.
Mankin in the hole, unable to finish. Good defense by Dahl. A chance for Northern State to further chip in the lead. Ball loose, corralled by Dahl. He'll pull up. The shot is off the front of the rim, and the rebound by Francis, who looks to maybe slow things down.
With that missed three-pointer now, NSU 2 of 12 shooting from three-point range.
Wagner gets by Smith. Endured a little bit of contact, able to get it to go. He's up to 14. So the last 2 halves for Tim Wagner, 33 points. They lead by 11. 42 seconds remaining. Pollard lost his footing driving the basket, and it goes out of bounds.
That'll be the 9th turnover for the Wolves here, as there'll be a little bit of a difference here in the shot clock and game clock for Harding here to run one more set as the shot clock is actually running right now. And they reset it to 30.
Yeah, so there'll be a 10-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Harding not exactly the team that would play for a 2-for-1 in this kind of situation.
Really been impressed with Harding. You know, they had 5 or 6 turnovers in the first 4 minutes of the game. They've really settled down. As you see the drive by Wagner, settled down. Now only 8 turnovers in the game.
The 4th rebound by Ian Smith today. And we've got 26 on the game clock, 23 on the shot clock. These Wolves down by 11. The score 41-30. Smith will get things going, dribbling the left side to Arvidsson. Down to 7 on the shot clock. Lost control, but guarded tightly by Eggleston. Down to 3. Dahl will try a 3 from the left wing. No good. Smith another rebound. Fires it up. It comes to Elliott. Blocked away. And that shot attempt will not count by Smith. A good defense on that final possession by Harding. And they'll take an 11-point lead into the break at 41-30. Take a break, and we'll have a look inside the first half numbers in a moment. This is SNUathletics.com. Halftime in Game 1 at the Sawyer Center. Harding leads 41-30. Alex Rieben here with Tanner Stiles. As Harding really, for the most part, controlled that first half, building out to an 11-point lead. They shot 50%, led by Tim Wagner, who had 14 points. Leading the way for Northern State was Ian Smith. And Tanner, as you said a couple times, really the big bright spot for Northern State in that half had 12 points. Now their big guys, Evans and Doyle, we talked about the great stats they combined for last night. Well, the first half they combined for just about as many fouls as points, 5 fouls and just 6 points by the big men for the Wolves. They had a total of 9 turnovers. The Bisons had just 8, so a little bit even in that regard. But again, it just seemed like Harding, for the most part, a bit more disciplined in that half and just kind of steadily built out that lead to double digits.
Yeah, we saw at the start of the game both teams kind of struggle on the offensive side. You know, we were 5 minutes in, and there was only a combined 10 total points from both teams. So as you said, you know, Harding started off the game with 5 or 6 turnovers, and then they really kind of buckled down and got in a flow and a rhythm, and they actually finished the half shooting 50% from the field, 5 of 11 from three-point range, 45%, and they got it done on the defensive side, as we talked about it as well, holding to NSU to just 34% shooting, 15% from three-point range, 2 of 13. And they were able to force those turnovers to get out in transition and run, where they took 12 free throws in that first half. And I really think that played the big difference. They were able to get more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball with Evans and Doyle came down on the bench in foul trouble.
Well, last year it was Harding that had just a very small lead against Northern State at halftime, 32-30, before a monster second half by the Wolves en route to a 73-67 victory. A game that was played down at Arkansas Tech. We'll see how the second half shakes out. About 8.5 minutes away. We'll step aside, and we will have the action when we resume here at the Sawyer Center. This is SNUathletics.com. It's about to start the second half of the Sawyer Center. Northern State trailing Harding 41-30, starting 5 on the floor for both teams. For the Bisons, they'll be Wagner, Medjo, Francis, Eggleston, and Alakovic, who barely played in the first half due to 2 fouls. For the Wolves, Smith, Arvidsson, Pollard, and Decker, and Chase Evans, another big who had foul trouble and did not see much court time. Possession will be with the Bisons starting things off.
Be interesting to see how Harding offensively will attack inside, try to get Evans to pick up another foul here early. Their flow seemed to be in a lot more in rhythm when Evans was not on the floor.
Well, they go inside, but it was Andalkovic who was picked up by Arvidsson and exploits the mismatch for a bucket and a 43-30 lead for the Bisons. Arvidsson 10 feet to the right of the basket. Out to Pollard, kicks out to Arvidsson. Drives left, will shoot a 3, right wing. No, but there's Ian Smith crashing the boards again. He's really been impressive on the glass today. That's his 3rd offensive rebound. Goes to the basket, bumped by Wagner. No call, able to get it to go anyway.
That's a tough basket for the smallest guy on the floor out there to boost his total up to 14 points, 6 rebounds. What a game.
Medjo to the basket, right back the other way, lays it in. Philip Medjo able to answer for the Bisons. Back to a 13-point advantage, a little bit under a minute into the half, and now a steal by Eggleston, taking away the entry pass intended for Evans. Medjo stops at the elbow, gives it off to the trailing Eggleston, left the 3-pointer short, and the Wolves get the rebound.
Harding's guard play and Medjo and Wagner has been great in these last couple of games to begin the season for Harding. Really kind of sets the tone for him.
Baseline right, Pollard elevates, no, and there's Medjo, just as you were talking about, getting the rebound. First year in the program, native of Serbia, began his college career at Central Michigan, redshirted there, then went to Pensacola Junior College and now in Searcy, Arkansas. Wagner the hole, can't get it to go, and a foul will be called. Or no, not a foul, just hit out of bounds by Pollard. Now the Bisons hold on to the ball. Leading by 13, Andalkovic guarded by Decker. Middle of the lane, hook shot off the back of the rim, doesn't go, and Evans with a rebound for the Wolves. Bounce pass ahead for a streaking Decker. A great find by Smith, who continues to have a tremendous game.
Yeah, that was just recognition there. He saw Decker streaking up ahead. A good transition bucket as we see Medjo back the other way for a bucket of their own. A little bit more fast-paced in the second half than we saw in the first half.
Harding has just had an answer, it seems, every single time. Northern State just cannot consistently get within single digits. Maybe they will now as DJ Pollard hits a 3, just the 3rd made 3-pointer by the Wolves today. Pollard had 16 last night, most of which came to the free throw line. He's got just 5 today. Medjo stops to the baseline, might have dragged his feet, had it taken away, and then Decker got fouled by Medjo.
Medjo was looking for a foul there, but nonetheless he picks up his 3rd personal foul, so that's huge for Harding. Medjo, second leading scorer, 13 points, 4 rebounds. He'll have to go take a seat on the bench for a little bit at least. Foul trouble. We'll see if Northern State can capitalize on that.
Plays by Zach Ward for the Bisons. Trying to get on the Wolves on this possession. It's in beautiful rip around pass for Evans, who slams it home.
Arvidsson, great recognition by that wrap pass. Makes it look a lot easier than it actually is.
Now there's a great find to Wagner cutting middle Ward. Wagner up to 16. It's a double digits, 49-39. Smith the other way. Off the back of the rim, goal. The baseline by Eggleston. Paul Sather really hot. Wagner lets a three go, and he gets it. Timeout called by the Wolves. As Tim Wagner staying red hot. Oh, it's not a timeout, I'm sorry. There was a foul away from the ball. It's on Decker. And that is Decker's fourth. The three biggest players on this team. All with some foul issues today. Cole Dahl will replace Decker. So the Bisons retain possession after the made three. Lob to Andelkovic, where he's double teamed. Slips it to Eggleston. Big block by Evans. 3-on-2 the other way, and now Pollard brings it back out to Smith. Oh, beautiful shake, but he also traveled.
Moved that back pivot foot just a touch, but nonetheless, still a great move. But I've been really impressed coming out of the half here. NSU's aggressiveness on offensive end, after just hitting 11 shots total in the first half, they've already hit 4 in the first 4 minutes of the game.
52-39. There's Wagner to the hole, able to get by the defense and lay it in. Back-to-back, or I shouldn't say back-to-back games, a 21-point game for Wagner. Oh, yeah, back-to-back 20-point games. 22 yesterday. What a start to the season for him. He looks like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the GAC. Cole Dahl tries a three, foul away from the ball. It is going to be on on Harding. So we will take a break as we have a timeout on the floor. A 15-point lead now for Harding at 54-39, 15:34 to go. This is SNUathletics.com.